Hello, everybody. My name is Franklin, and I'm really excited to talk to you about my April 2020 progress update in Spanish. Again, my name is Franklin, and this is first1000hours.com.
Don't give up on your language learning marathon. You can make it. You can make it through your first 1,000 hours.
And I don't know if you can hear outside, but I'm under a tornado watch at this moment in time, and so by God's grace I'll be all right out here in Oklahoma. But I'm going to go ahead and begin and share with you about my progress update right now. So one of the things that I was able to do was to be able to start reading A Courageous True Story in Spanish, and I'll be talking to you about that in a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on to this presentation. And so I just want to give you some of the stats about how I actually did in Spanish. So I've watched at least 15 hours and 44 minutes of a Spanish course. And again, this is not just any type of course. It was a course to teach me something outside of Spanish, but it was a course in Spanish, okay? And then also, I've read 57 pages in El Progreso del Peregrino. Sorry. 80 pages in La Gran Controversia. It's also called El Conflicto de Siglos. And then 16 pages in El Heroe de Hacksaw Ridge. And so some of you might, that name Hacksaw Ridge might be familiar. I'm going to be talking about that in a second. But okay, so what does this actually mean in terms of goals? And so I've read, okay, since this is from January to now, I've read a total of 491 pages in Spanish. And so that is 153 pages that I did again in April. So that, it's good in one sense. It's a lot better than how I've done maybe in the past sometimes. But I was supposed to read 183 pages, and I only read 153 pages this month. So that means that it's going to be harder for me to read next month. I mean, to keep up, but I'm going to still strive. I'm not going to give up on that reading progress. Okay. And then also, I still need to read 1,509 pages in Spanish and watch 178.27 hours of Spanish courses before 2020 ends. And I might be changing my course goal. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on in this presentation. Okay, so this means that as it currently stands right now, if I watch 22.28 hours of Spanish courses per month, I'll meet my course goal. Again, my course goal is to watch 200 hours in Spanish courses of whatever I choose. And then if I read 188.63 pages in Spanish per month, I will meet my year's reading goal. So I need to step up on the reading. So I want to share some highlights. One of them is this, and I needed to show you my screen, right? And so El Progreso del Peregrino, I was able to read this book without any software or any dictionaries, with around 80% comprehension. So I thank God for that. And I believe this was my first book that I was able to do that with. There was another book that I was thinking, did I do that before with that book? But I don't remember. So I say that this is the first Spanish book that I read all the way through without any help. Really happy about that. Okay, and so I just want to show you some other things here. And then La Gran Controversia. I've been reading this book. Now, I switched from reading it in paper to digital, so I've been using LingQ, which I use to help read things faster. And if you want to know more about LingQ, I'll put a card up here. I'll put a card up here so you can click and find out more about LingQ. But anyway, I've been using LingQ to read about that, and I've learned things about the Protestant reformers. I have read that book before in English, but just being reviewed of, like, have you heard about, for instance, Wycliffe? And he was a person that translated the Bible into English, and he stood up for his faith, and in the face of death, he just was holding on to what he knew to be true from the scriptures in the face of death. And also John Huss as well. Been reading about him recently in La Gran Controversia, also known as El Conflicto de Siglos. And then I wanted to share with you another book, and that's El Heroe de Hacksaw Ridge. And it's this book right here. And I actually have read this book before in English. So it looks like the same, right? It's basically the same cover and all of this. And some of you might have seen the movie. I'm not really trying to advocate or promote the movie, but anyway, Mel Gibson was someone that learned about Desmond Doss, who this story is about. And he was so, I guess, impressed by his story that he turned it into a movie called Hacksaw Ridge. But again, I said I'm not into the Hollywood stuff for the most part, so I'm not into that. But his true story is what I'm interested in. And he was a non-combatant that was in World War II. He volunteered to be enlisted, basically, and he was a non-combatant though, but he got the Congressional Medal of Honor from President Truman because he displayed amazing bravery in combat without holding a gun, and he was able to save around 75 people in combat in one day. And so he did other things like that as well. And so I like to hear his story because he had convictions. And I like the fact that he held on to his convictions in the face of wartime. And when I was reading this, I found out that some people that applied like to go and serve their country, serve the United States, they found out that they were not able to serve, and they actually committed suicide. And so I think that was one of the reasons why Desmond Doss was like, you know what, I want to serve my country too, but I just want to do it in a different way. And he was able to be a medic. And some people that laughed at him and were like, hey, what are you going to do in helping me? Those were the people. Some of those people were the same people he saved while they were in combat. So anyway, I like to learn more about Desmond Doss. And so I'm glad to be reading that story again. Okay, so I want to share with you some other things here. Now, this is a picture of this book, El Heroe de Hacksaw Ridge, and I wanted to show you a little bit of my struggle when I have had to read, because now I'm reading a paper book, and so paper book has some of its challenges, and so I've had to use Google Translate, and you'll see like I got like 2 pages to just show you where I have written in the book. And this is basically basically showing you where I wrote in the book a little bit here and there and right here, because I was looking up words. So I still am looking up words. You know, you can see some writing there. Now, what is actually underlined in that picture that you're looking at is just things I really liked about the book. And there's a lot of things I like, so I underlined a lot of things, but that's not because I didn't know what was happening. And so if you see the other page as well, you'll see like right here, I was writing in the book just some words I didn't know, and right there, right here, right there as well. So, you know, the big thing to do when you're trying to just read is just keep on going, and don't worry about that. I'm not intimidated by picking this book up. And the cool thing about this book is it's 126 pages, so it's not something that's a really big book to tackle as well. Okay, so I want to talk about some highlights. Okay, so one of the things I was talking about was a sleep challenge. And my sleep challenge for this month was to go to bed by 10 and be in bed for at least 7.5 hours. And for at least 20 days in April. And I believe I basically met that goal or that challenge. So there have been some times when I haven't done that, but for the most part, I'm in a routine of having a bedtime. And one of the reasons why that's important is because the more organized and structured my life is, the more I can actually achieve my goals. And so I have goals to achieve in Spanish. And so I need to be taking that seriously of going to sleep. And then I can have more mental energy to do things like learning Spanish as well as other things. Okay, I want to show you some other things here. And then I had also an exercise challenge for myself, and that was to exercise 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes a week. I'm sorry, 30 minutes, 3 days in a week. And so I think for 2 weeks in this month, I did that for just 2 times, but I have been having a heavier emphasis on exercise. And so what I want to do for next month is I want to continue with my sleep challenge, but I'm going to do something a little bit different, because what happens to myself, Now, I don't know if you can relate this to this as or not, but sometimes what I do is I will wake up. Actually, every night I just wake up. Sometimes it's to go to the bathroom. Sometimes it's just to wake up. Like this tonight. I mean, sorry, last night I woke up and I just had this energy, and it's like, oh, okay, I want to just maybe go on my phone and all of that. I didn't do that last night, but sometimes I just get on my phone and maybe watch a random video or something like that, and then I go to bed or check some of my statistics on YouTube or whatever. And that is not something good to do. When I go to sleep, I want to have as much of a time of having uninterrupted sleep. And so I might check my phone, see what time it is. That's still fine to do for next month, but that's it. I just want to check my phone unless there's an emergency situation or something like that. I just want to check my phone to see the time. And I probably will get a clock so that I don't even have to check my phone at all, or a watch or something like that. And then also the other thing I wanted to talk about was exercise. I want to increase my exercise from 3 times a week to 4 times a week, and doing that for at least 45 minutes. So 4 times a week, 45 minutes of aerobic exercise. And then I don't know what I want to do, because I came onto this live stream not knowing exactly what I want to do for a course. I do believe I'm going to change the course I'm doing, but I don't know where to go. I don't know how to actually track my time. And so I was thinking maybe what I would do is just not do any Spanish courses and just focus on reading. Or I just thought, even right before this live stream, I might change that to doing audiobooks. So the remaining time I was supposed to be watching Spanish courses, I might put that into doing audiobooks. I am not sure at this moment in time. I should be able to give you more details about my transition or whatever I will do next month. Now, I was supposed to this month get El Progreso del Peregrino Part 2 in this book right here. It did have Part 2 of like Pilgrim's Progress, but what I was going to do and what I ordered basically April 3rd was I ordered another like Part 2 of this book, but then I was going to get that and then also listen to the audiobook, because I found out on Audible there's an audiobook version, and I wanted to do that, but it never came. My book never came, so I'm still waiting on that to come. So I was not able to get that progress. And I see right here, Blanca, my language partner, you said, hi friend, excelente metas, me gusta, me gustas. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you like the goals that I have here at First 1,000 Hours. And I just want to continue with that. And maybe I'll just talk to you later, because I would like to know if you know of any good me gustan. Okay, I gotcha. I want to know if you know of any good books, audiobooks that maybe I can listen to. I've already listened to El Camino a Cristo. I want to maybe listen to an audiobook of El Progreso del Peregrino, or if you know any good online Spanish courses to teach me something outside of Spanish, then I would like to know what your input would be on that. And I also want to remind everyone that basically we have completed 1/4 of the year. It's finished, basically. And so we have 3/4 more left to go. And so it's going to be important for us to use that time wisely. And I think I'm actually I'm counting wrong. Actually, we've done like 1/3 of the year. Actually, we've done more than 1/4. So that means that we need to really focus on our goals and try to be serious about that before we come to 2021. That will come sooner than we probably realize. All right. And I also want to let you know that I will put on the screen a video where you can see about my view of reading digital versus paper books. And there's also going to be a video that YouTube recommends, and I hope to see you in the next video.